The objective of hand cleaning multiple sinks is to sand sink edges. The equipment used includes an adjustable height cart. The tools used include a Dynabelter, hand grinders which weren't often used during this process, and a Scotch-Brite hand pad. The materials used include 3-bowl sinks with a countertop which weighed about 54 pounds, single-bowl sinks, 4-bowl sinks, and countertops. The work environment is an inside work environment with heat and no air conditioning. The personal protective equipment includes safety glasses, a face shield, cut-resistant gloves, hearing protection, and steel-toed shoes that were not required. The worker observed was 6 feet 2 inches tall. The work methods for hand cleaning multiple sinks begins by sanding beveled edges with the sanding belt. When using the belt sander, workers tilt the sander to follow the beveled edge. Workers start at the left side of the back of the unit. Then they work the corner and blend into the flat area. Workers repeat this process for each bowl. On the last bowl, workers will work the corner and go all the way up the side. Workers position themselves at the right side of the front of the unit. Then they sand the lumps in the middle of the flat areas until flush. After taking care of the lumps, workers will sand as was done for the other side. Workers then work corners and blend into flat areas. On the last bowl, workers will go all the way up the side with the sander. Then they will sand the beveled edges with a surface conditioning belt. This involves changing the sanding belt to a surface conditioning belt or grain line belt. Once workers have made this switch, they will sand the beveled edges with the new belt. There were several ergonomic risk factors observed while hand cleaning multiple sinks. Repeated and sustained exertions were rated as a medium-high pace. Hands were in constant steady motion and exertion to sand the sink edges. Regular pauses were not observed. Sustained exertions were observed and included continuous standing and continuous torso and neck flexion, or forward bending. Continuous elevated right arm was also observed. Forceful exertions were required to push the cart, to use the belt sander, to use the hand sander, to lift and position sinks, and to lift and position the countertops, which was not observed. Awkward postures were observed and include extreme neck flexion while sanding sink edges, torso and neck flexion, elevated and extended arm, forearm pronation, wrist deviation or sideways bending, and wrist flexion while sanding sink edges, torso and neck flexion, and wrist extension or backwards bending, to sand sink edges with the Scotch-Brite hand pad. The mechanical or localized contact stress observed was contact stress between the elbow and the countertop edge, contact stress between the forearm and the sink edge, and contact stress between the torso and the countertop edge. The recommendations for hand cleaning multiple sinks include: investigate using a pneumatic adjustable height and tilt fixture to decrease posture stress. Consider walking around to the other side of the countertop while sanding to keep work close to the body to decrease posture stress. Consider using elbow pads to decrease localized contact stress. Investigate sit-stand chairs to decrease sustained exertions. Investigate job rotation to tasks that do not require sustained awkward postures. Consider using electric assists for moving the cart to decrease forceful exertions. Investigate anti-vibration gloves and tool handles to decrease vibration exposure that is transmitted to the hands.